discussing any issue, there are primitive and inferior ways of arguing your case, and then there are logically sound ones. Of those most primitive and dishonest methods, censorship is probably the most despicable. At least that by using logical fallacies and things like that, your opponent's voice can still be heard, but with censorship, that's simply not the case. So with that being said, let me introduce the creationist propaganda machine known as the Discovery Institute. The Discovery Institute is a black hole of stupid, and they're most recognizable by their front man, attacked lemming Casey Luskin. The story basically goes as follows, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it. In the spring of this year, the beacon of journalistic integrity known as Fox News allowed Casey Luskin from the Discovery Institute to do an 8-minute hit piece on science and on evolution. He had no opponent on the broadcast to point out his many flaws, only the host who basically echoed his every point. Now, because Fox was ready to abandon the opposing point of view, also known as reality, I took it upon myself to set the record straight and make a video exposing exactly what had happened. That video can be found here. Then, a funny thing happened. On June 11th of 2009, the Discovery Institute filed a DMCA takedown notice on my video to have it removed from YouTube and made unviewable. In effect, they censored me for disagreeing with them. But there are several problems with this. First is that the Discovery Institute didn't even own the rights to the broadcast. Fox News did. Secondly, in the DMCA, there's a section titled Fair Use, which outlines exceptions to copyright law. Some of those exceptions are if your video is non-profit, if it's educational, or if it's what's called comment and criticism. Because my video fell under 3 exemptions where only 1 is needed, it's unambiguously fair use and legal for me to use. Now, I pointed out all of this in a follow-up video which can be found here, and in the video description. Now, the Discovery Institute immediately went on the defensive, claiming that no one knew what they were talking about, and that the Discovery Institute didn't file the claim on behalf of Fox. Ironically, for the first time in the history of the Discovery Institute, they were actually telling the truth, and nobody had any clue exactly how obscene their actions really were. So I immediately contacted a lawyer who's willing to represent me for free of charge. He advised me to get a hold of the DI's takedown notice, which is the claim that the Discovery Institute has to file, under penalty of perjury, that they believe my video was a copyright violation and legally needed to be taken down. Now, when we saw their claim, it was literally hysterical. Attached is an unaltered version of the document, which can be downloaded and shared via the video description. As you can see, the copyright claim was for me showing an 8-second long clip of their logo parodying LOL cats. In short, it was their logo with the term invisible research written on it. So this makes the matter pretty cut and dry. They had absolutely no grounds to censor me, and using a logo is perfectly permissible. There aren't even any fair use exemptions needed to use a logo. So their claim against me is not only dishonest, it's illegal, as the takedown notice that they filed is a legally binding document signed under penalty of perjury. So considering that the Discovery Institute is staffed extensively with lawyers, not many scientists of course, it's extremely unlikely that they didn't know my video was perfectly legal and that their claim was illegal. But even with that being said, Napoleon once said, "Never ascribe to malice that which can be explained by incompetence," and I couldn't agree more. In other words, when somebody does something that can only be explained by them being an idiot or by deliberately wrongdoing, it's far more likely that the person's just stupid and meant no harm. So then the question becomes, is that the case here? Did the Discovery Institute know that their actions were illegal and do them anyways simply to censor me? Or are they truly that incompetent and really thought showing a logo in a video on YouTube was a copyright violation? So how could we tell the difference? Easily. If the Discovery Institute thought that showing a logo without permission on a YouTube video was illegal, certainly they'd never do it on one of their own YouTube videos, would they? Well, here are the first few seconds from a clip of one of their own videos on YouTube. Here's the image used in the video, paired with PBS's actual logo. Pretty close, wouldn't you say? See, if the Discovery Institute really thought using logos violated copyright law, they surely wouldn't use logos in their own videos. After all, that would be, according to them, theft of intellectual property and illegal. Their own video proves beyond all reasonable doubt that the Discovery Institute knew that displaying logos is perfectly legal. They simply wanted to censor the opposition and chose to illegally file a copyright claim against me to do so, knowing full well they had no right to do so. And here we are, pretty much. I mean, the board is set and the pieces are moving. In the meantime, there are things that you guys can do to help. Basically, share this video and the takedown notice. Send it to your friends, and if you have a popular blog, like, say, PZ Myers, please post this video so that the word gets out and the Discovery Institute thinks twice before censoring others. Censorship is never a valid form of argument. It's used by the pathetic and the weak who know that they cannot win a fair fight. If your videos have been victimized by creationist organizations, read a paragraph or two of U.S. copyright law, and if your video falls clearly under fair use, fight to have it reinstated by having a counter notice. Thanks again as always for your time, guys.